so fine. So I have seen that one. So congratulations. These are the kind of teachers who really make a difference, because that child within you has to always remain alive and active. Thank you so much. Let us now begin with our session formally. Are we fine, Kavita? Should we begin, or should we wait for some more people to join?
No, let's begin. Let's start.
Okay. So even if others join, it's okay, because we'll take a quick recap of what we did earlier so that your memories are refreshed. I'm presenting the screen. And let me tell you meanwhile that we were, one second. We were talking about the visible thinking routines. Yes. Can you see the screen?
No, ma'am.
No?
No, ma'am, not still. No.
Not yet.
Okay. Okay. No problem. Let me just try again. Amit sir, have you given me the right to share this?
Yes,
Okay.
ma'am.
Am I sharing the screen now?
Yes, you are sharing, Jaya. Only thing
Okay.
is, I think just your face, I think just go down if there's a slide or something. It's
Yeah.
showing principal RRIS is presenting, but nothing has come across.
1 second. Can you see this presentation now?
No, ma'am. Ma'am, you'll have to use the presenter window option.
I did the same. Let me again try it. Oh, yes. I'm sure it's going to open now. Can you see?
Not yet, ma'am.
No.
No,
Yeah.
that's surprising. Okay. Anyway, Mr. Amit has the same presentation. Would you please run it from your end?
Yes, ma'am.
Let's be quick. So, friends, let me just take you through what we did last time mentally. Initially, we learned about the Project Zero, which is performed by the professors at the Harvard School of Education. Project Zero talks about making thinking visible through such kind of exercises, mostly questioning, where you can, as a teacher, understand what each child is thinking at a particular moment in your classroom. We also realized and understood that thinking does not come naturally to us as human beings. It needs to be, the mind needs to be trained for logical thinking. Thinking is skilled work. So if we think that we are naturally endowed with the ability to think clearly and logically, then we are mistaken. We need to train the mind. And to know what one is thinking, we can take help of these thinking routines. Amit sir, once you're ready to present, just let me know. Then we first started with our very first thinking routine called See, Think and Wonder. Here, the teacher can show a picture, can show a text, can show anything in the natural setting, ask them to think about it, and ask them what does it make them wonder. It was also connected to the next routine to some extent called Think, Puzzle, and Explore. So, from thinking and getting puzzled or wondering, it asks about the next step, how to explore, to address that puzzle. What is puzzling them and what can they do to resolve it? I think somebody has got two devices with the mics on, so my voice is echoing. Just take care of that, please. If someone has got this meeting on two devices.
Miss Renuka
Then,
here, please mute your device.
Amit sir, are you ready to present?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. Amit,
You
on
should
your
be
end,
able to
can
see
you
my
mute
screen.
everybody? Is it possible for you to mute everybody?
Ma'am, unfortunately, I am unable to do that.
Okay.
I'll just check again.
Okay. Teachers, please mute.
Yeah, I request everyone to mute themselves,
Yeah.
Miss.
Ma'am, I muted everybody, so you
Okay,
can continue. And
yeah.
I
So you
think
can,
people are able to see my presentation. In case
yes, we are
you're
able
not
to.
able to see it, please disconnect and reconnect.
Miss Renuka Iyer, could you please be on mute? Amit sir, please keep on moving. I'll say next, next, and you can move on. So friends, this was a Project Zero by Harvard Graduate School of Education. Next. Can we see the full screen mode? Then I asked you to tell me in one word.
Jaya, you're
Jay,
muted.
you are on mute. We can't hear you.
Oh, oh. Okay. So I'm taking you through what we did last time. I had asked you with a simple exercise to begin. That is, tell me in one word what you think about webinars in lockdown. And I was very happy to see your thinking was visible to me, and I could see that you all were connecting it to new learnings and growth and opportunities. Next, please. Amit sir, next slide, please. And we have to be quick because we have already done these things. So I had asked you to identify the whole image from the part of the image. Next, please. Next 4-5 slides, you can simply move. And this was also one routine called Zoom In. And I remember many of you had liked it. This is how you can create curiosity in the classroom by showing any one image from a diagram, from a picture, or from a photograph, and ask them to think about it. And we also spoke about what is thinking. Next. So thinking helps us form thoughts, to put logic to it, to reflect, and to express. Oh, you did it? That's fantastic. Fantastic. Miss Francisca. Wow. Congratulations. I'm happy to know you did it in the class. Then we also discussed on the philosophies or the thoughts of some great educators like Albert Einstein, one of the most famous scientists, who says that education is all about training the mind and not just filling it with facts. And we also saw that thinking doesn't come naturally, as said by A.E. Mander. It needs to be practiced. Thinking logically needs to be practiced. Then we also spoke about importance of thoughts, how the thoughts formed throughout the day stay with us, stay with us. And one more interesting thing that comes out from this picture is that out of all hundreds of thoughts, the ones which are detrimental, which are negative, they tend to stick more deeper in our mindsets. So this is off the track, but then as teachers, I think it's very important for us to understand that what we say also gives thoughts to children, and we should see to it that we do not give any negative thoughts to our children, because they would forget everything else but would remember the negative thoughts. Next, please. The Project Zero is started with the mission of enhancing learning, thinking, and creativity, irrespective of the disciplines and the individuals. Next, please. This project was started in 1967. You know, this is something so surprising that I came across this thing maybe in the during the lockdown, since the pandemic started. So how something which was so relevant to education started in 1967, and we were not even, I was not aware of it. This shows that we need to constantly be in touch with the latest happening in our field, that is in the field of teaching and learning. And this particular website of Harvard School of Education would give you a lot of material. I would request all of you to research. There's a lot to learn from there. Now, what is visible thinking? Using these thinking routines. Thinking routines, a few of those we have done just now. That is, we spoke about see, think, wonder, think, puzzle, explore, zoom it, etc. They are to be used, and then make children write or talk about it and document what they are saying, what they are writing. It helps to deepen their understanding. Next, please. We did this exercise, and I remember everybody unanimously agreed that unconsciously also there is a particular pattern in which our hands clasp together, and we find comfort only in that particular fashion. If we try to change it, if we try to change the position of the thumbs, which one over the other, it becomes uncomfortable. So this was something which I had asked you to do and think about. Why so? Next, please. Yes, and then we had formally started with the visible thinking routines. Next, please. See, think, wonder was the first routine. Let's see how in a classroom students do it. You can see the example of children's work where the teacher shows different leaves. Next, please. And the students write what they see, what they think, and what they wonder. I'm not elaborating as we have discussed these routines last time. Now, another routine that takes you to the next level is think, puzzle, and explore. In explore, children would write about where they can get more information from. And this is what actually is a teacher's job, not to tell them what to look for, but where to look for. They should know from where I can get the information. It's not our job to tell them the answers to everything, but making them empowered enough to have the confidence that I can find answers, and they should know where to look for those answers. Next, please. Yes, next, please. So doing some experiment like that, for example, finding the pH of different materials, the students, or for any other activity, the students can be put together in pairs. They think about what has happened in the experiment or after a concept is taught, or you have given them a problem, and you pair them, ask them to share their observations or their logic for something with each other. You can keep changing the pairs so that they get to hear multiple views of participants. This helps them articulate their thoughts in a small group because not everybody is very comfortable to speak in big groups. It also helps them develop their active reasoning. And most importantly, it encourages students to understand multiple perspectives because they are readily listening to everybody's views. Next, please. Yes. Now, we also realize that simply giving answers or simply expecting correct answers is not going to make them think deeply. And hence, even if the child is right, if the answer is right, we should always question what makes you say that? Why do you think that? Can you explain your thinking to me? And we saw it through an example. Next, please. Yes, I had asked you to look at this picture and tell me what's going on. And many of you said they seem to be traveling in a tube train, or they seem to be traveling back home from office. Some said they are traveling in the morning. And whatever were the responses, I asked you, what makes you say that? And you were giving me the reason behind your answers. And this is what got you into thinking more. Right. Next, please. Options explosion. This is to be used, this thinking routine is to be used where you want different options to be brought out from children. It could be about your concepts. Let's say if it's a commerce teacher, and commerce teachers wants to know what are the students' views on investment. So what are the different investment ways of investment, or which are the most profitable investment methods? Different students would have different answers, and that's where the discussions can start. Next, please. I think I had given you some examples like, yes, I had asked you what would be the best class layouts. And then, whatever the students propose to you, you can further ask them to probe, asking them, what makes you think that? Why do you say that? Features of an ideal school bag. We have 4 houses in our school, and every week one house is on duty. At the end of the day, we have a a presentation every day, and there is a topic given for each week. So once we had also given this topic of an ideal school bag, designing an ideal school bag. Students come up with fantastic ideas. So yes, friends, let's move ahead. Yes, we saw this. If you all remember, tell me, what is it?
In the
Would
One
someone tell me
Writing
here?
person,
the
You can
background.
write.
one, ma'am, one person is passing the negativity to the other. The same thing is again and again happening.
Okay, okay. Were you there in the last class?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So this is our perception, but actually, what was it? Next image, please, Amit sir. This was this was a meme, you can say, showing how on WhatsApp people just keep dumping something onto others' phones, and may not even be very meaningful. So this is how you have taken out some meaning, you have perceived it in a different way, some other person perceives in a different way. So what we are trying to say here is, if you show a part of an image to children, they would start forming thoughts, and they would be eager to know what that whole image is, and are they thinking, is their thinking correct or not. So this is a very interesting routine. I like this routine a lot. Next, please. So yes, I think from here we were supposed to begin. This is an interesting routine called parts, purpose, and complexities. So friends, you have to tell me, from your subject or from any subject, any topic which talks about parts. Amit sir, please go back. You have to tell me a topic where in the concept there are various parts involved, each part serving its own purpose, and everything working together as one single machinery, as a complex mechanism. Or I'll give you one example so that it helps you in understanding. Let me tell you about circulatory system. So its parts are heart, then blood vessels. Each of these components or parts has a purpose to perform, and together they all make this complex circulatory system. Now you tell me one such system, any example, where there are parts, where there are purposes of each parts, forming that complex system. A pen. Miss Aditi says a pen. Yes, that is what we have in our next slide. Uh, any other answers? A computer. It has several parts. I hope I am audible. Photosynthesis is a process. Photosynthesis is a process. So you can say there are different steps in photosynthesis. Or if you're talking about a plant, then parts of a plant, right? Nobody's saying anything. Think of any complex system relevant to your subject, and there
Water
would be
cycle.
various parts.
Water cycle.
Okay, right.
Yes, somebody said water cycle right now.
Right. So water cycle, right? Water cycle has several components or processes happening, which ultimately makes it a complete water cycle. Cheese making process. Okay. So in any recipe, there are so many ingredients. Each ingredient has got a purpose to serve. Oh, fantastic. Let's see an example here. So, this helps the children break down the different layers of something, of the topic, and then finally understand the complexity as a whole. Next image, please. So here, this is an activity done in a classroom where students have learned the different parts of a pen and how each part serves a particular purpose, and how together they form a complete pen which does what it is supposed to do. Next, please. When you do it in such parts, it helps children to understand that whatever looks so complex is basically made of small things, and everything gives its own function. Creating an app, this is something fantastic. When you know an app, you want to create an app which serves a particular purpose. Okay, so that is a complete complex app. Now, for serving that purpose, what all would you need to create that app becomes the part. What would each of those features do? So you need certain features because you want those kind of purposes to be solved. So creating an app is a complex thing finally, which happens through different parts. Next. This routine is very interesting when you have to come to a decision. It helps in decision making. I'm liking some examples that have come ahead here. Programming, Mr. Mahesh, yes, thank you. It's the food chain, Ms. Francis. Yeah. You did this in Global Outlook, fantastic. Then Ms. Iyer, parts of speech. Each part has its importance, together forming a whole language. That's fantastic. I liked it. Okay, so flowchart is a graphic organizer for any process. Photometer, okay, that's an instrument, and each part of the instrument has got some purpose, which ultimately gives you the final reading or the observation. Fantastic, Miss Aditi. Okay, now let's understand what this compass points is all about. So suppose you want to explore with children. As a school principal, let's say I want to explore if should we allow children to come in casual dresses and not the formal school uniform. So what I would need to do is, according to this routine, I need to explore this idea from 4 different angles. Okay, so if I tell my staff about it, first of all, then I'm thinking about starting this new trend of allowing children to come in casual dresses. Now, the teachers are expected to ask 4 kinds of things to me and to themselves before we all come to a decision. What are those 4 things? One is this idea. When it comes to this idea, what are they excited about? What excites them? Second, what are they worried about? When they think of this thing happening, what worries them? Third, what more would they need to know to come to a conclusion or to help me with the decision making? Fourth, what suggestions would they want to give me before I actually implement it? The same can be done with children. It can be done for anything, like allowing phones in schools. Asking children, okay, if we allow you for bringing phones in schools, what do you think is exciting about it? What do you think we should worry about? What do you think you need more to know about it? What suggestions would you give us to make this decision effective? Next slide, please. And meanwhile, yeah, so these are the examples. I would like to know from you, if I'm asking you about this first point, what is it that is exciting? What excites you? What excites you about this idea of no uniform? There would be colors all around. Okay, yes, this is a brain teaser. It makes you think. The thinking routine serves this purpose. There would be different styles, wearing whatever, so freedom of choice. Children would be thrilled. Okay, so you are excited because you feel children would be excited. Fantastic. Okay, can show off new clothes, best outfits. Okay, variety. Okay, fantastic. I'm feeling happy that you all are into it. And I can see it. You're making your thinking visible to me. So friends, this is exciting. Now, second thing is, are you also worried about something? Now express your worries to me about this idea. Yes, one worry has already come, comparison on economic status. There would be competition, comparison, social disparity. Yes. Then uniformity would be lost. Inferiority complex may arise. There would be a question of what do I wear every day? Then the expense, comparison, distraction, the race of consumerism, peer pressure, complex, more shopping, privacy invaded. Okay, I'll have to understand that better some of the time. And discipline might become an issue. Okay, increasing demands at home. Yes, absolutely. We all think alike, all of us, all the teachers. So I'm with you. I agree. These are all concerns. Now, third thing. The third was what? Mm, no, before suggestions, would you go back, Amit
Need to
sir?
more. Need to know more. Need to more know more.
Yes. What would you need to know more? Thank you, Mr. Mahesh. So what, I said that I have decided to implement this now. What would you want to know more about it? Okay, I'll help you with one. So you would like to know, is it really for every day or is it once a week? Okay, you would ask me, how would parents take it or how would we inform to the parents? You would ask me any specific dressing style, or is there a capping on the budget spent on it? Is it possible to set some guidelines? Fantastic. Give specific standards like no shorts. Okay. Again, we are all thinking alike. So agreed. Agreed. Yes, we need to worry about it, and we need to. You need to ask the principal these questions before we actually put this decision out. Okay. Fantastic. Now the fourth thing. What do you suggest for making this idea a success as teachers? What would be your suggestion? Apart from saying that let us not have this, I'm not giving you that option. So allow casual clothes on specific days with certain instructions read in article. Okay, where the uniforms are designed by Sabyasachi. Yes, that's the school, girls' school in Rajasthan, in desert. Beautiful school. It has been winning international awards for its infrastructure. It's for all the economically weaker section girls. Broad rules to be set, strong guidelines, once a week, implement once a week, dress code to be specified, casual wear, okay, go with monthly theme, proper guidelines. Okay, agree. So we have seen that we explored this idea from all possible directions and dimensions, and then we would be able to come to a logical conclusion. You can do it in your classrooms. Don't think that this is something which is of a general importance for decision making by administrators and leaders. No, you are the administrator of your class, you are the leader of your class, and you're the leader of your subject and the concept. It is your creativity to see where you would introduce this thinking routine of compass points, different points, your compass pointing in different directions, exploring from different directions in your classroom. Okay, next, please. I love this routine. It's called color, symbol, image. Now, friends, sometime back, one thing which was dominating the news was the Friends reunion. Friends reunion. Okay, mention a few characters from Friends. I need not elaborate what Friends I'm talking about. Mention a few characters from Friends. Phoebe, Rachel, Joey. Fantastic. Okay, Joey is dominating the scene here. In fact, I love Joey the most too. Then we have Chandler, Joey, Ross. Why are you forgetting Monica? Okay, Ross, Chandler. Okay, Miss Madhura has written all the six to avoid any confusion. Fantastic, fantastic. So suppose I tell you to think of that program, Friends, and tell me what color would you associate with it? And there is no right or wrong answer. It is your thinking. What color would you associate with Friends? Blue, green, red. Okay, rainbow, pink. Fantastic. I know you have your own reasons for choosing these colors. It could be friendship, it could be happiness, it could be love. Okay. What is the symbol that comes to your mind? What symbol would you like to give to this Friends program? Heart. Heart. Okay. Joining of hands, like in friendship. Okay. Coffee mug. Oh, I love that. Yeah, the Central Perk coffee mug. Intertwined hearts, hands held together, unity, fantastic. What image comes to your mind when you think of friends? Now, Amit sir, can you move to the next slide, please? A big hug. Okay. Oh, okay, fine. Actually, the presentation with Hugh doesn't have that image. So there was an image from the Friends program, which is missing here. But anyways, so the image you can picture is the sofa at the Central Park, the iconic sofa and a tub of popcorn. Okay. And I mean, there is so much. Now, what dominates your thinking or memories would immediately come on the top of the mind. The sign on the door. Wow. I think you're talking about that frame, that empty frame, doors opening every now and then, the frame on the purple door, right? Okay, friends. So, this helps you understand. When you ask these things to your children, it helps you understand which child is where, which child's thoughts tilt towards what is each one inclined to more. And through general things, you can get to know it. You can also find out about the concepts that you have taught or you're about to teach. You can ask them these things uh, relevant to your syllabus also. Please do not think it's general. I'm talking about general things so that you can understand if this can be applied in general thing, you are talking of specific, that would become so easy. It's all about your creativity. Now, circle of viewpoints is another interesting routine. Mostly, it helps children to open their minds to multiple perspectives, the global perspectives, diverse perspectives on any issue, any topic, or any event. Let's say the children have read a story. Next image, please. So let's say this was a story which was revolving around social differences. These are different characters: Curly's wife, Phoebe, Holden. I'm actually not aware of this story. If anybody knows these characters are from which story, please mention it. So friends, let's say you have taught a story and there are different characters, and through this routine of different viewpoints, what you are doing is you are asking children to look at that whole event in that whole story from that particular character's point of view. Let me give you an example. These days, different descriptions of Ramayana, Mahabharata are in vogue. Various writers are writing it through the eyes of Sita, through the eyes of Karna's wife, and so on. So this is how you can make children to step into one character and look at that whole story from that one character's point of view. It helps you see things from different perspectives. It helps you break molds of your prejudices and biases. It makes you more open-minded. And this is what we want our children to do. So I hope you like this. I really like this routine. Next, please. Now, whenever you have an opportunity of having different answers, two answers, you can use this routine called tug of war. Let's say in pre-primary classes, when we talk of Goldilocks story, you can ask children what Goldilocks did, that is breaking into somebody's house, sitting in their furniture, eating their food, sleeping on the bed. Is it a good thing to do or not a good thing to do? The class might be divided into two on the basis of their answers. Some might say yes, some might say no. And then you ask them, what makes you say that? It's up to you how you use different multiple routines. So, it's like a tug of war. And then all those who say yes, what she has done is right, they're all going under yes. All those who say no, what she has done is not right, they all go under no. Your class would know, you would know, your class is more favoring on which of the behaviors, doing it, not doing it. And then there can be discussions, why yes and why no. Yes, Amit, I can see the empathetic you speaking this. Okay, next, please. Friends, this heart-wrenching picture was chosen as the most influential images of all times. The photographer who took it, Kevin Cartner, is said to have committed suicide because from all the corners, people were targeting him and telling him, asking, questioning his compassion, questioning his humanity, who was busy clicking this picture rather than saving this child dying of starvation and malnutrition, where a vulture is waiting for the child to die and to eat him as its next meal. So anyway, when you have something like this, I have chosen this image, but it could be any image from your course, and it need not be such an emotional thing. It could be anything. Okay. But yes, it works better when you want to talk of a social issue. Next, please. Let's see how I can use this image to explain another routine. This routine is called 4 ifs thinking routine. Okay. So let's say you have shown the picture and you have done some discussion. Children say, oh, this is sad. And, some children do not have food to eat. And the situation of hunger in the world is so bad. And you can collate facts. You can do some research, think about it. And then finally, when they've realized that this is a huge issue, then we bring them here with the 4 F's routine. The first if that the children are supposed to think about and answer is, if I take action, then how will this affect my life? What might my actions look like? So the child is starting from self. If I take action about hunger, about saving food, about providing food to those in need, etc., about being compassionate, so what would my actions look like? Like, what kind of actions am I supposed to take? Second, so what we're trying to do is trying to make the child understand that my action matters, then my community's action matters, my country's action matters, and the whole world together as a family, our actions matter. The second is, if my community takes action, what might this look like? If my nation takes action, what wrongs need to be righted? Fourth, what if we don't take any action? Then they would write down that this situation would go on deteriorating, and we would be acting like animals, just focused on our own food, our own development, our own satisfaction. So I'm not getting into this topic to discuss, but this was to tell how we can involve their minds into thinking, probe deeper into thinking, and making them conscious, responsible global citizens at the same time, by thinking from self to the whole world and realizing that lack of action would never bring any change. You can do it in your global perspectives, you can do in social studies, you can do in sciences. You can talk about the coronavirus. It's up to you how you connect what to what. Next, please. Yeah, keep using these questions to make their thinking more visible. What makes you say that? What makes you think that? Explain your thinking to me. What's another way to do that? Yes, please, next. I'm reading the comments. Excellent views you all have expressed. Okay, now a routine. Which one doesn't belong? Now, this helps them understand comparison and choosing with logic. Tell me which one doesn't belong. Or in other words, which is the odd one out. Yeah. It's 27. Okay. What makes you say that? Yes, Ms. Credo, that's fantastic to know that you have analytical questions in the worksheet. Fantastic. That helps with critical thinking and problem solving. Okay. So what makes you say that, friends? Multiples of 8, you can say, not multiples of each other. Like 8 is not a multiple of 64. 64 is a multiple of 8. Miss Ashwini says 16 is the odd one.
Ma'am, because I thought the others are cubes.
Others are?
Cubes.
Yes, others are cubes.
Okay, that's fantastic. Amazing. Okay, would you just tell me, not just cubes, like 16? 16 is 4 square. Is that a cube?
27 is 3 cube, 8 is 2 cube, and 64 is 4 cube.
Right. Achha, so that's why you said 16 is the odd one. I appreciate that. See, now different thinkings have come out. So there is no fixed answer. It's all about how you look at it. 8 can also be odd. Okay. As it's the only one digit number, rest are all two-digit numbers. Fantastic. I love this. So see how there can be in a subject so logical like mathematics, where there is one answer, there can be so many answers. It's all about how you probe them to think. This was fantastic. Next, please. Now, when you have taught students about percentage, ask them to explain it in something which is not usual mathematical exercise. So ask them, what do you know about 35%? And explain your thinking using words, pictures, graphs, numbers, symbols, equations, etc. So let's say the child draws a pizza and takes out 65% of it and only 35% is remaining. Would you accept that as an answer? An image where 35% of pizza can be seen. Amit sir, I like that. That's really funny. 35% is a passing percentage in school. Okay, friends, so you will accept it. So it's all about different representations. When a child can represent through various presentations, that shows that the concept is really clear. And the child has not just learned a particular method that you have taught, because we want them to know the concept, not just learn one particular method. Next, please. Beginning, middle, end is another routine. Usually happens in languages when you teach stories, but you can also do in processes. Okay, processes in science is any subject. You talk about middle of a process, then ask them what must have happened before this, or how would this process end. Similarly, in a story, you show a picture, tell them this is happening in the middle of the story. What do you think? How the story began and how do you think the story would end? This is called beginning, middle, end. I think English teachers and other language teachers routinely use this routine. Next, please. Oh, this is fantastic. You must do it. When you are giving any text to children, ask them to read and select their own sentence, phrase, and a word that they find the most powerful thing in that text, or they find that this is representing the whole text, or this is the most meaningful of it, or this captures the core idea of the whole text. Let's see an example. I'm taking the very famous speech of Martin Luther King Jr. and I give you 30 seconds to go through the speech from I say to you today to the content of their character. It's a very famous speech. I have a dream. I think in some of the exercises, you must compulsorily make students learn this. Some few, most well-known speeches, we should make our children learn them by heart. No harm. Okay. Now you have to tell me. So I'm not asking you one sentence or one phrase. You may just tell me one word that appeals the most to you. Again, remember, there's no right or wrong answer in this. But when I ask you to do that, you are reading it with greater concentration. You are thinking at the same time. You are looking at your emotions, trying to assess which one hits you the most. Equal, equality, character, equality and democracy. A phrase like all men are created equal. I love that. Hope, dream, character. Fantastic. Fantastic. Not be judged. Wow. Wow. The hope which I see in, I still have a dream. So despite the difficulties and the frustrations, I still have a dream. It's the hope and it's the conviction that we can do it. So, everybody will have different words appealing to them, different phrases, different sentences appealing to them. Please use this. This is called sentence, phrase, word. thinking routine, SPW. Next. Okay, before we are moving towards the end of our workshop, but I would just like to know, are you all with me? Are you enjoying this? Are you able to retain the information? Just type Y if you are with me and you're liking it, and N, a bold N, don't worry. Honestly tell me we don't like this, whatever you are teaching, trying to explain. Okay, very sweet audience I've got. Kavita, your teachers are just fantastic. They're all my friends now. Okay, thank you. Kavita, you have got lovely people with you. Okay,
I agree completely.
fine, fine, fine. Thank you for being there with me, friends. Okay, this is another routine. It's called Step Inside. It's again stepping into a character, being empathetic, being able to understand a situation from different perspectives. It opens their point of views. Let's say, how many of you have heard of Greta Thunberg? Write Y. Or you can write I. I have heard. Okay. Greta Thunberg, the young girl. Okay. Greta Thunberg. You associate her with what? With what? What is she so passionate about? Climate change. Thank you, Miss Credo. Climate change, climate change, climate change. Wow, fantastic, fantastic, friend. So we all know that Greta Thunberg is passionate about this. Now, let's say, moving on to the next image to understand this routine better. Amit sir, next image, please. Here is a text about Greta. Your children are reading that text. It could be from a magazine, it could be from newspaper, anything about her. Okay, so when they read this, they come across these statements like when her class was showed documentaries about climate change, she was the one sitting quietly in the back of the classroom, and she remembers being more affected. She was so affected when she heard about the climate change, and my classmates were concerned. At the end they started thinking about other things, but I couldn't do that. Those pictures were stuck in my head, etc. Now, when the children have read this, you would want them to actually understand why Greta feels so strongly, where is she coming from, what makes her act in a particular way. Next slide, please. So this is an exercise which you can make them do for the first step. No, I think before this, Amit sir. Okay, or you can go back one more slide. Okay, so here you have these questions. You can ask these questions. You can mold the questions as per your requirement. So what can this person or thing see or observe or notice? So yes, what does Greta observe or notice around her? She notices that the world is changing, the climate is being affected badly. What might she know or understand or hold true or believe? She believes that our planet is on fire. She believes that our house is on fire. She believes that it needs immediate attention and action. What she cares deeply about. So, you can have these kind of questions and let the children answer them one by one. And this is when they have been able to actually empathize with Greta's thinking and understand her. It can be done for any story that you have taught. It can be done for anything. There's no limit. It's again teachers' creativity. Next, please. Next. Yeah, this is very similar to the 4 ifs. It's called the 3 whys. It's actually WHYs. It's been written as why. So 3 whys. It's again used mainly to discuss situations or topics or issues which are of local or global or personal connections. Let us understand this through an example. Okay. There's an image. Next slide. Or on the same slide. Yes. Look at this image and tell me, what do you think this image represents? being judgmental. This reminds you of Malala. Okay. She's being outcasted. Okay. Scorned. She's being scorned by others. She's being victimized. There is discrimination that you can see. People are judging her. Okay. Why? Could be racial discrimination. It could be self-judgmental. Okay, self-judgmental. Okay, a misfit. Okay, I think nobody is a misfit. You know, everybody has their own place, and everyone has the right to be there. It's all about how people believe that everyone has their own place in this world, and we have to be accepting of everyone, irrespective of what they wear, what religion they follow, what is their social or financial economic background, etc. You feel that she does not gel with the crowd. Okay, she does not gel with the crowd, but look at the expressions of the crowd, the people around her. Maybe that is the reason that she is not feeling comfortable to gel with others, right? Judgment. Subject is being scrutinized. She feels cornered. I agree with you. Orthodox versus modern. Yes, you can discuss these two kinds of approaches with children. Okay. So ultimately, we have all, if I see, it comes down to judgment. Judgment makes you discriminate. So, yeah, making people feel left out. So it's all about discrimination. You can talk about so many incidents that have happened since times immemorial till today, where people are being discriminated against. Discrimination again is of various kinds. There could be gender discrimination, there could be racial discrimination, and so on. Now, once you have come to a conclusion that this is what is happening and that is what is happening, you can ask children these three whys, these three questions. One, why might this matter to me? Let each child answer, why might this matter to her or to him? The child should be able to think about it. Why should it matter to him or her? If she is like the regular public and she is not discriminated against, he is not judged by others, easily accepted by others, then should this matter to me? If people are not doing this to me, should it matter to me? Let them think about it. Do you think it matters to you? If some girl from maybe Afghanistan is studying in New York and this is how her fellow classmates behave with her, do you think it matters to you, friends? Right? Y or N? Do you think this matters to you? Absolutely. We all understand that this matters to me. People in my contact, especially as teachers, the children that are under our care, they are developing their thinking, their thought process, their philosophies, their principles in life, their beliefs, and they are going to impact this world. So yes, how I think resonates in my family, in my children, in my students, and this is how it goes on. The ripples are created. The whole world is affected by how I think, how you think, how each person thinks. So this is the first question. Second is, why might this matter to people around me, like my family, my school, my other staff members? Why should this matter to them? Third, why might this matter to the world? How does it matter? Let things happen in the world how they are. Racial discrimination, hunger, corruption, anything that's happening, crime. So let the children think about it and have in-depth discussion. This would make children, again, feel responsible, become critical thinkers. And third, become responsible for what they think and responsible for their actions because they are thinking before taking an action. So moving on. Concept maps also can help you understand children's thinking and whether they are moving in a logical direction or not. I will not go on elaborating because I'm sure you all have heard of concept maps, mind maps. But yes, these can be used as thinking routines. So friends, this is an image from the Project Zero website showing you how these different routines, I have probably taken 20-25 routines, but there are more than 125 routines, and those routines have been classified like There are routines which are used to uncover complexity. Routines which are used to build explanations. Category of routines which describes what is there. Routines which help you wonder. Routines which consider different viewpoints. So there are different categories, as you can see, of different routines. Next slide, please. I would like you to explore the link. Next slide, Amit sir. I would also show you the actual website. Meanwhile, I would request Amit sir to paste that link on the chat, in the chat box, please. So friends, why we have discussed this all is to understand that thinking is important. Second, knowing what our children are thinking, making it visible is very important to be able to see where they are and what is the gap between where they are and where we want them to be. Third, this would create a culture of thinking in our schools. So our classrooms and hopefully our schools should become cultures of thinking. But you can't take responsibility for the whole school as an educator. You can take responsibility for your own class. So make your classroom a culture of thinking, create a culture of thinking. And these are places where a group's collective as well as individual thinking is valued, visible, and actively promoted as part of the ongoing experience of all group members. You keep on doing it in the entire ongoing experience. Every person and the group together keeps on expressing their thoughts based on the routines you follow, and this is how you create the culture of thinking. So in a classroom with a culture of thinking, there are 6 characteristics of such classrooms where you have cultures of thinking. They believe that learning is a product of thinking. Unless you think about it, you have not actually learned it. Thinking and learning are a collective enterprise. They go together. Learning occurs at the point of challenge. So it should not always be an easy ride. There have to be questions which challenge your thinking and solve problems, find solutions, come to decisions. Learning is an active process. They believe that learning is an active process. It involves getting personally involved, putting your thoughts, putting your brain into it, doing some actions as well. Questions not only drive learning, but are outcomes of learning as well. So when we say routines, you have seen that there have been questions and questions. Routines are nothing but questions, the right kind of pointed questions. So questions drive learning. Our learning is often provisional and frequently changes with time. Of course, the world around us is changing, so our learning keeps changing. What we learned 15 years back may not be very relevant today, so it has to keep on changing. Next slide, please. Okay, this is another routine called 3 to 1 bridge. It's up to you how you use that 3 and 2 and 1. Here, it's like after teaching a topic maybe about fox, the teacher has asked them to write their 3 thoughts about what they've learned, 2 questions about what they've learned, and 1 analogy. Could be a simile, a metaphor, or idiom that they can relate to that topic. Now, it could be used in any way. Only thing is, it has to be 3, 2, and 1. Let me show you how I am using it. Next slide, please. So let's say I'm asking you, tell me 3 routines you like the most. Then 2 routines you would like to find out more about. You want to know them in depth. 1 which you will implement immediately, or you feel that you can implement immediately. So it's difficult to give that much time to get the answers for all these 3, but I would like you to answer the last one. 1 routine that you will implement immediately. I hope you have made a note of all the routines that we have done. But anyway, I think we have shared this presentation with Ms. Kavita. So you can again go through it if you wish.
Yeah, I have the presentation. I'll definitely share it across, Chair. Definitely.
Yes, yeah. If they're not making a note, they might forget.
No,
But
no,
anyway, you have to do a detailed research by going on the Harvard website. SPW, circle of thoughts, circle of viewpoints, that's called. Then 3 Ys, zoom in, 4 directions, that's called compass points, Mr. Mahesh. Then SPW, think, pair, share, SPW. Okay, 3 Ys, zoom in, SPW. Okay. I like, I like all of them, in fact. So I would not discriminate. Research on Hindu mythology. Okay. So which maybe this is your area of research, and you may use these thinking routines. In fact, friends, recently, not very recently, but I think 6 months back, on the same website, they've also come up with learning routines, visible learning routines. I think you can do that with your children. You can teach them. I'm planning now to learn more about it and do it for my children so that they can make their own learning visible to themselves. Step inside. Yeah, I like that too, Miss Sumana. Then Miss Rakhi ji says 3 to 1. Lovely. Thank you. 3 to 1 bridge. While to part. What is while to part? Miss Jigyasa? Or maybe is it parts, purposes, complexities? I couldn't understand that. If you could explain, feel free to unmute. Meanwhile, Amit sir, can we please move ahead?
Ma'am, it's about that whole two part. About the
Part to whole.
experiment. Yeah, sorry, part to whole. When we're talking about
Okay.
the pen. So it's a very
Understood.
basic thing and they could relate to it, I feel.
Absolutely, Jigyasa ji. This was fantastic. Actually, the spelling
Thank you,
instead of
ma'am.
whole it appears as while, and
Yeah,
I'm
I'm
not
so
very
sorry.
intelligent. I
Typing
didn't make
error.
that connection. Now, this is another routine called traffic light reflection. At the end of the class, at the end of concept, you can give these reflectors to each student, distribute them, or on one itself. It's up to you how you want to do it. So let's say 3 sticks. One has got a green end, one with red, one with yellow, and ask them to raise whatever is relevant. So the green one says, I feel confident, I understand this concept well, I'm ready for the next learning challenge. The one who is yellow needs a bit more support. So child can raise and show you yellow. You can ask the whole class, okay, time for traffic light reflection. Let them pick out. So you will immediately get a feedback of your class. You were clear in passing the information and making them understand the concept and its application perfectly by the number of greens that you see. Similarly, how many are stuck and you need to seriously give them extra time or extra attention, support by red, and then who are on an average and would like to move ahead further. So if I ask you, tell me, our workshop, how would you give the traffic light reflection for me? Feel free to make it any color that applies to you. Mention G if it is green, if you have understood most of it, and you feel it was, you feel confident after attending this. Yellow, if you feel that you need more of practice and more support from me. Okay, I am happy to see some yellows, very happy to see many greens. Red, those who feel that they could not make the most of this workshop and need more help from me. Now, those who have mentioned yellow, please feel free to ask questions now, today, or you can write to me. You can convey them through Miss Kavita, or you can directly write to me. Amit sir, would you please type my email ID? They can also directly mail to me. So friends, this is how you can get an idea in your class where you stand in your teaching of that concept. Thank you. Next, please. So this can also be used for self-reflecting. It's a teacher self-assessment also, or students assessment for the teacher. Here are two different scenarios. On the left, we many times fall into that pit, where teacher starts feeling too slow. I'll tell you the answer myself. I don't have, out of this 40 minutes, 10 minutes went in settling the class, then another 10 minutes in solving some of their fights and quarrels, and then now hardly 15-20 minutes on such a huge concept. I don't have time to listen to your answers. I'm just telling you the answers. Is that a learning culture or a thinking culture? Is it promoting thinking culture? The left one, top left. I'll tell the answer myself. Is that a thinking culture classroom? No. I understand we have our limitations, but I also feel we have to always see what are the pros and cons. Saving up on time or just sticking to our lesson plans, is it really that worth when it comes to comparing it with the amount of learning that the children have received and they are going to retain? I think no. So thank you, friends. You all are with me. Look at the right picture. The children are so keen to run to that teacher's class because there they don't just talk about facts. They think about big ideas. There are transferable concepts. There is a culture of thinking. And I wish that each one of you and each one of us develops that kind of a learning and thinking culture in our classrooms. And we can do that as teachers by providing opportunities to plan, by priming and pressing for thinking. We have to plan, first of all, what kind of questions we will ask our students to push them for thinking. Prime, that is prepare them for thinking, and how we will press them for thinking. Next. The teachers can use these routines in introducing and exploring ideas. That is, when you begin with a new concept, or synthesizing and organizing ideas while you are already into the topic, and then digging deeper into its application, what they have learned, how it applies into the bigger world, digging deeper, asking for their ideas. It helps them to apply. And anyways, I have shown you how different categories are there for the routines which serve different purposes. Next, please. Okay, we are towards the end, and let's do an activity. Lift your right foot, move it in clockwise direction. How many of you are able to move in the clockwise direction? Just write I. Keep moving. Okay. Okay. Now, while you're doing this, draw the number 6 with your right index finger. The foot should move in the clockwise direction and write 6. How many of you are able to do that? Foot in the right, in the clockwise, and right index finger making 6. No, difficult. No, yes, I'm not able to do it. I'll ask you to do separately, yes, later. But you're not able to do this. So, yes, now try this. Continue moving your right foot in the clockwise direction and make number 6 with the left finger. Are you able to do it? Kavita, are you able to do it? Okay, yes, you're all able to do it. I'm able to do it too. Now, I have given you this Jaya Parekh routine. Do think and wonder. Do things, think about them, why they happen, why they don't happen, wonder about it, and of course, explore, find the answers to it. So you will then get into, I will not go into the depth of it, but just giving you an idea. There are 2 parts in the brain, the right and the left, and then how they control the body, how the actions depend on how they function. So it's all about that. Next slide. We are towards the end. And I would like you all to explore this particular website, do your research. We could hardly scratch the surface of visible thinking routines. There is a lot more to dive deeper into. I wish you all the very best. Sending you a huge hug from this distance. All the best. And if you have any questions, please feel free to ask. I may not have all the answers, but I'll try. And I'm expecting Amit sir to take us through the link that has been shared here. Just for a quick reference. Right. Right. So here on the Project Zero website, you will see the different categories. Like you can see here, different color codes for different routines, core thinking routines, and perspectives, perspective taking, digging deeper, etc. Let's go down, Amit sir, in the core thinking routines. Okay, friends, just look at it. There are 7, 8, 9 routines under this category. You just tell me how many we have done from here. How many have we done from the core thinking routines? Have we done circle of viewpoints? Yes. Claim support question, no, we did not do. Compass points, yes, we did. Connect extend, no. I used to think, now I think, no, we have not done. See, think, wonder, yes. Think, pair, share, yes. Think, puzzle, explore, yes. What makes you say that? Yes. So this is to give you an idea that from each category we have done a few. There are a few which are left for you to explore further. No, I think this is just to make it colorful. I don't think it has any reason for the colors black and green. We still might, I will have to check this out if there's a reason. So friends, you can look for these different categories, and under that, which all we have done, which more you should do. Also think about what you can apply in your daily classrooms, for which topics, what would suit. Okay, that's it. If there are any questions, Kavita, please allow them to ask questions if they have. And here, I would like
teachers,
to.
do you have any questions? Sorry to interrupt. Teachers, do you have any questions? I think the session was so good. I doubt if there are. You got more greens, madam. So I think there are less of questions.
Thank
Okay,
you. Thank
so
you.
I think since there are no more questions, on behalf of our management, principal, Mrs. Kavita Sangvi, and all my colleagues, I would like to thank you, madam, and your team for such a wonderful insight on how we can make thinking possible in our daily lives, in our daily classes. I'm sure we all will ask more of probing questions, incorporate the different routines, the 3 whys and the 4 ifs, whose relevance was explained so beautifully. This will help our students to become more rational, critical thinking individuals, and this will definitely help us in bridging the gaps in our teaching learning. Once again, thank you so much for having such an insightful session. Thank you so much.
Absolutely my pleasure.
Yes.
I'm indebted to all of you for being here with me and giving me this pleasure of knowing each one of you, this fantastic team. My best wishes to all of you. And with love, I would like to now